welcome. And welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. If you're new, thank you. If you're a current subscriber or if you're back, also thank you. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all of the things that help me get some traction in the algorithm, because isn't that just life, right? Algorithms. Anyway, I wanted to do this quick intro. I did not do this on the Scorpio video. That's okay. But I wanted to do this quick intro because it's 2023 and we are no longer going to assume that people know things without us actually telling people those things, right? And asking for what we want. So I do want you to subscribe to the channel. I want you to come back, press the notification thing, bell thing, so you know the videos are posted whenever they get posted. I would love that. Also, I do have an Etsy store. The link is below, because in true manifesting generator form, my soul cannot just have one thing to focus on. I have to have a bunch. So I do have that. I actually have 2 Etsy stores. One of them is on vacation for now. What else? I am working on getting personal readings back up and running since I've been back, but also just kind of trying to surrender to the flow of that. I mean, I know that'll come exactly when it's meant to. Was there anything else? On Instagram, I post daily, quickie energy reads, like, tarot updates. I was posting those on YouTube, but like on YouTube Shorts, but there's like a 60-second limit to those, and they've just been longer than that. So my Instagram is going to be linked below as well, so check that out. What else? I thought that there was more, and now I'm like drawing a blank, because that's what happens when you are a little vulnerable, I don't know. I guess I'm going to leave it there. If there is anything else, I'll mention it at the start of the video. Great. So, I usually go in order when I do these readings, either zodiac or human design profile. It's just, my OCD. But this time, I didn't really want to choose myself. So I wrote all the zodiac signs on a pieces of paper, and I wrote all of the human design profiles on paper as well. So let's just see who's next. And I've said this in every reading, and this is how your mind plays tricks on you, right? Because I feel like I'm being annoying by repeating myself every time I do one of these videos, and I have to constantly remind myself while I'm doing this that this is maybe your first video that you're watching, or at least you're not watching every single, you might, and if you do, thank you, but you're not watching every single video, so I'm not technically repeating myself to everybody. But anyway, it's just the games that our mind plays, right? So who's next? At some point, a card will, or a paper will jump out. So whoever wants to go next, there we go. Let's see. Aries. Let's do it. Whoops. So we are going to pull an oracle card. There it is. That was fast. So oracle card, and then just kind of move some things out of the way of a shadow right now. And then of course we have tarot cards. We'll get more information from them. Let's see what this is. Self-love. Okay. Absolutely. This is the first time we're seeing this card in any of these videos so far, and this is absolutely beautiful. This is really, like, I just kind of keep hearing in my head, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, and everything else will either fall into place or figure itself out. Because, you know, we can't really pour from an empty cup. We can, but at what cost, you know? Like, if that's people pleasing, or, you know, doing that in order to distract yourself from your own stuff, you know, your own healing. We're looking for 6 tarot cards, so we need 5 more. It's always, you know, like a nice reminder to be sure that you are taking care of your star player. Like, you know, what do you need? You know, do you need a little bit more rest? Do you need more food? You know, do you need less sugar? Do you need a massage? Do you, you know, like, need to go sit in nature if it's not absolutely effing freezing outside, like it has been where I live? 4 more. 2 more. This top row is looking a little heavy. So, you know, and that would explain why the self-love card is even coming out too, because if you are kind of, you know, navigating through some heavier experiences, emotions, it's, you know, like this constant awareness to, like, bring yourself back to yourself. Like, bring yourself back to the present. Where am I? What can I feel around me? You know, like, are you sitting on a cushiony seat? Are you sitting on the floor? Are you know, so it's like, what can I feel? What can I physically touch around me? What smells are around me? Like I said, like, you know, and that's just like a practice of bringing yourself back to being in the present. Because, like I was saying, you know, it's kind of interesting at the beginning of this reading here, I was talking about, you know, those games that our mind will play. That was too many. We're just looking for 2 cards. It was like 4. So, you know, when your mind starts kind of spinning. 1 more. The 7 of Pentacles and the 2 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It's so interesting because I feel like the portrayal of this figure it's like the same person in every one of these bottom cards here, which is just kind of fascinating to me for some reason. It's like, you know, this is air, this is fire, this is earth, but it's like, you know, the figure, it looks like the same person to me anyway. So it's almost like this, you know, either evolution, or this is really just even like a I want to say like a blueprint to help you. I mean, of course, you know, I always kind of put this disclaimer of, you know, when to check in with yourself, you know, get professional assistance. I'm a huge proponent for therapy. So with all of that being said, let's just get into it. So we talked about the self-love card here, and truly, you know, it's almost like this reconnection to yourself. You know, if you're going through this healing journey, for me, what that healing journey looked like was finding those parts of myself that had gotten stuck in an experience. Like I call them Horcruxes because I'm a Harry Potter fan. But it that's just kind of how it feels. Like, you know, my energy was zapped, but it just got stuck in this experience. And that's generally what they call trauma. And I also, I love how this figure, it's almost like, they're wrapping their hands around themselves. Again, just this energy of like really taking care of yourself and your needs, whatever that is for the time being. Like I said, do you need more sleep? Do you need some time in nature? Do you need a little bit of alone time to recharge and regroup? And it's like, how can you, is there an opportunity to honor those things? So we start here with the Two of Wands, which is the card of Aries. So is the Queen of Wands here. So I love that you are showing up for yourself, not once, but twice in your reading here. And in this depiction of the Two of Wands, we have this figure here sitting on a stump. Of course, there's these two wands here, and they are tied to them. And there might be this feeling of, either feeling trapped, or this even feels daydreamy, like, they're holding, or there's a bird in their palm there. And it's just like this feeling of wanting to be anywhere but where you are. It could even just be like, focusing on the bird instead of your situation. It's like, the one thing that's kind of holding your head above water type of thing. And it doesn't, of course, it doesn't have to be a bird. But also, interestingly enough, they may be tied to these wands here, but they're not stuck. Like they could actually untie the ropes and they could move forward. Wands having to do with action, communication. So there may even just be something that you are avoiding doing, or you just don't want to do it yet, or say it yet, or make that decision yet. And then it's paired with the Justice card. Justice is the card of Libra, so there could be a Libra around you. There doesn't have to be. But Justice talks about karma. It talks about balance, fairness. It could, of course, be a legal thing. So, it could be marriage. It could be divorce. It could be some sort of, civil suit or something involving the court or law enforcement. And it's interesting because in this depiction of the Justice card, this figure here, they're holding, of course, the scales of justice, but they're holding a pomegranate over here. And, clearly the flesh has been taken off of their hand. And pomegranates generally talk about fertility. That could be reproductive fertility, but it could also be, like fertility of abundance or opportunity or, something along those lines. And it's like, what was the cost of that opportunity? Or, fertility at what cost? But it's also, regardless of what's going on over here, they're still holding up these scales that appear to be even. So I just get this feeling that it was like there was you felt like maybe you didn't have a choice, or it was almost like knowing the risk and doing it anyway. And, we have the light and the dark pillars here, which just kind of signify the energy of, light and dark. And then, this figure standing in the middle, and there's this balance between. And that could even just be kind of what you're grappling. Because even look at the similarities between these two cards. This is a Two of Wands, but this figure is right between those two wands. And this figure is right between these two pillars here. So definitely, just almost kind of grappling with this thing for some time, maybe. But this would tell me, with the Justice card, this would tell me that this time, or, kind of where you're at right now, there is this seriousness to it, like really wanting to figure that out for yourself. I don't know why it just kind of came to my mind, but 211 could have some significance to you. Then we have the Nine of Swords here. And the Nine of Swords talks about mental anxiety. I mean, just look at this figure here, This just, it feels like there's some sort of loss or really big thoughts or decisions, experiences again that they might even all just be coming up at once. I mean, I get this feeling of loss, but I mean, we have the Five of Cups next to it, which, I mean, that is kind of the card of loss. But I mean, I'm getting it with the Nine of Swords, and really just because of the posture that this person is sitting in. Like, I've been in this exact position, and when I was in that exact position, it really was because my mind, like the thoughts, the stories, the ego, or they were kicking my ass, just all of the, I'm so alone, I am not lovable, I deserve this, what did I do, I'm a complete failure, like, and it just cycles and it just takes over. It's like your body believes what your mind is telling it, right? Like, your body doesn't understand that your thoughts are separate from the actual experience, right? So all of this was happening in the mind, and you could just be noticing that there is this kind of trickle down into your body. This could even just be, we're talking about nines. 9 is a completion. It's individual completion, at least. Like, you have reached a pinnacle or the climax. And this card, it almost looks like a ritual, because there's these 9 candles all around. There's 9 swords in the middle, and there's this mourning that's happening, a release even, because again, with their posture, there is this release, and it's, releasing those shame stories, releasing the guilt, releasing, the things that haunt you in your mind. And that's, again, at the beginning, I mentioned that disclaimer because that's a hard thing to navigate on your own. It's almost like, just having somebody to keep the light on for you, because this is pretty dark. It can be. It doesn't even have to be a therapist. I mean, there's so much free information on the internet too. It's just really like a matter of coming across the right information, like, what is the intention of that information, not attaching yourself to one way of doing things or one, kind of stream of thought, keeping an open mind. And with it being paired with the Queen of Wands, like I said, I mean, this is Aries energy. The Queen of Wands, it's almost like, just looking at the difference between these two cards. Coming out of, like this release here, coming out of, I mean, this could even just be self-forgiveness, and that could just be like a change in energy. Like, it's making a final decision that you did the best that you could with the information that you had and the knowledge, the experiences that you had thus far. Because I know you did. You did too. And with the Queen of Wands, this is, I mean, even just look at their posture. They're sitting straight forward. I mean, straight shot here. There's this air of confidence. Also individual, because I see the queens as being, when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves, like we have to recognize it within ourselves before we can either share it with other people or lead other people in it, which is when we get to the king. But the Queen of Wands is like confident in their actions. There's passion, there's creativity. It's like rediscovering yourself, rediscovering that spark. It's almost like, like settling back into your own body, into your own energy. And you get to decide what that is too. It's ever changing. It can be if you let it. And it's almost like, this is the thing that changes. Because we do have the Five of Cups here. And the Five of Cups generally, like I said before, like does talk about loss. This is mental. This is, like the actual, like the actions that you are planning on taking or deciding to take. And like I said, it could be information coming in, the way that you communicate things. And cups are our emotions. So this to me would say it's like there are these things that you are letting go of. And it's almost like, again, giving yourself permission to do so. Because, it's like just because you let go of something or you heal that wound or you forgive yourself or you forgive somebody else for something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, like, it doesn't take the magnitude of the experience out of it. Of course it's something that still happened, but it's saying that the impact of that thing, the impact of that experience is no longer going to affect how I feel about myself, how I feel about my life, how I feel about, my future. In this figure, so there's already 3 cups that have been poured out here. And to me, it looks like they are they're almost about, if this was a movie, in the next frame, they would be pouring these 2 cups out too. Or they already did. It doesn't even really look like there's any liquid in them. So they certainly could have already poured these 2 cups out already. And, the 2 of Cups in the tarot talks about, basically like sharing your cup with somebody else. It's right after the Ace. So your cup is full. Then there's somebody else that comes along and their cup is also full. Like you guys are at the same place, have the same goals, have the same values, want the same things. This could even be a baseline. If there are other people involved or another person involved, it could be looking forward, almost like this recommitment to yourself, but also to the other. This even feels a bit ritualistic to me too. Like we have this whole situation with the candles, and even just purposefully and consciously pouring out these cups here. And then the 7 of Pentacles is about, what do you pour your energy into? Pentacles having to do with our money, our time, resources, materials. It's our physical body. How do we make money? How do we spend it? How do we save it? How do we spend our time? How do we save our time? How are we taking care of our bodies? And I love too that we start with this self-love card and we end with the 7 of Pentacles, because this is almost to me like putting that energy back into yourself, like I was talking about earlier. The Seven of Pentacles says that what you put your energy into grows. You know, I mean, this figure is watering the plant. Again, you know, like even with this like kind of ritualistic kind of thing here with the crystals, we have these coins around this one plant. I mean, this is literally and truly, and allow it to be literally all about you and your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health here. So I didn't really finish my thought with the Seven of Pentacles, but the Seven of Pentacles is understanding that you can't just plant a seed and never do anything with it again and expect it to grow. You have to foster that growth. I mean, you have to constantly be putting your time, your attention, your resources, maybe even your money into the thing in order to see it flourish. So, you know, again, this figure is watering this plant. And it's the watering and, you know, soil and all of that that are working together in order for this plant to grow. So it's like understanding that you need all of these tools, all of these, you know, coping mechanisms, self-love, attention to yourself, really being so hyper aware of what you put your time and attention in. What thoughts do you give your time and attention to? What emotions do you give your time and attention to? Because this just feels like this journey of release, of grief, even allowing yourself to grieve if you haven't done so already. And this down here is like the outcome. There's this justice card, you know, karma. It's getting yourself back here with the Queen of Wands. And then this commitment even to taking care of yourself or your environment, and or I should say your environment. And then with the Two of Pentacles is literally the card of balance. You know, I mean, this figure is kind of balancing on this log here, juggling responsibilities, but they're doing it. Like I was saying, you know, it's this balance between your thoughts, your feelings, and your the physical world. There could even be, you know, some sort of help, you know, like if you are in partnership or friendships even, you know, like about just, you know, this vulnerability thing coming in here because, you know, I mean, it looks like this dog is bringing the sack lunch here. Maybe even just allowing other people to help or even asking them to, like, and like I said, you know, that's very vulnerable. We have the Hermit card after that, introspection. Like I was saying before, really settling back into yourself, really discovering who you are, who you want to be. It could even just be that journey of self-discovery. Like maybe you're like, wow, you know, I went through this grief process, and now it's like, now I get to decide. Now I understand the importance of my own authenticity and my own expression of that. King of Pentacles, me hello. Getting to a place of security. You know, I mean, this is going from the Seven of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles. You know, these seven pentacles down here turned into many, many, many. And, you know, like I said, that could be physical, you know, like money. It could be your health. It could be time, right? I mean, materials, resources, because the kings are the highest expression of the suit. So really getting to a point of stability, but also remembering where you came from. They're holding this coin here. That could be one of the coins from down here, right? Beautiful. I'm sending all of my love to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to leave it there.